In a world of empires, one queen rewrote the fate of nations. This is the untold story of Nakia, the ruler who defeated an empire without a single battle.
In the deep and ancient heart of Africa, beyond deserts that swallowed entire caravans and winds that carried forgotten histories, there once rose a kingdom unlike any other. A kingdom built not on the power of stone walls or infinite armies, but on iron, innovation, and the unbreakable will of its people. This was the Kingdom of Kush, and rising from its golden sands stood Meroe, a city of pyramids, forges, queens, and warriors, a city where fire and metal shape destiny. Among all the rulers whose names are whispered across time, one woman stands apart. A queen whose intelligence overcame intimidation, whose strategy defeated an empire, and whose wisdom protected her kingdom without spilling a single drop of blood. Her name was Nakia, and this is her story. Long before Nakia became queen, Meroe was already a marvel of the ancient world. Its pyramids rose sharply against the sky, smaller and steeper than their Egyptian cousins, yet no less magnificent. Smoke rose constantly from the forges, the lifeblood of the city. The glow of molten iron lit the streets at night like thousands of small suns. Meroe was the industrial heart of Africa. Its blacksmiths were unmatched in skill, transforming raw ore into weapons, tools, and art. Traders came from Arabia, Nubia, and beyond, drawn by the kingdom's wealth and craftsmanship. It was in this thriving city, this crossroads of cultures and power, that Nakia spent her childhood. Nakia grew up surrounded by noise, heat, and movement. But while other children played in the shadows of pyramids, she gravitated toward the forges. She watched ironworkers pour molten metal with bare, steady hands. She listened to the rhythm of hammers striking anvils, a rhythm that echoed throughout her childhood. She watched shapeless ore become powerful tools, spears, and blades. In these moments, Nakia learned a lesson that would shape her future. Strength is not inherited. Strength is forged. As the years passed, she explored beyond the forges. She listened to elders debate politics. She studied the movements of caravans. She learned the languages of traders who journeyed from distant lands. She learned patience. She learned strategy. She learned people. Long before she wore the crown, Nakia had become a leader in spirit. When the old Queen of Kush passed away, the Council of Elders faced a crucial decision. Nobles expected the throne. Warriors believed they deserved it. Families competed. Voices clashed. But Nakia had already earned the respect of those who mattered. The elders had watched her observe, listen, and understand the world around her. They had seen her calm judgment, her thoughtful presence, and the quiet wisdom that seemed far beyond her years. And so, against all expectations, they chose Nakia. She became Kandake, Queen of Meroe. Her rule began not with war or conquest, but with growth. Trade expanded, agriculture improved, iron production reached new heights. Peace settled over the kingdom like a blessing. But peace seldom lasts forever. Far to the north, Egypt was watching. Egypt and Kush had always shared a complicated history, sometimes allies, sometimes rivals, always cautious. Under Pharaoh Ahmose II, Egypt's hunger for wealth and territory grew stronger. Kush's gold mines glistened in his imagination. Kush's iron forges threatened his dominance. And Meroe's strategic location along the Nile made it too valuable to ignore. Ahmose sent envoys south. Their words were sweet, but their message carried a threat. They claimed Egypt sought peace, but insisted that Kush must accept Egyptian protection. It was a demand for submission. Nakia listened calmly, her face unreadable. Her response was simple, but unshakable. Kush protects itself. Those three words traveled back to Egypt, and when they reached Pharaoh Ahmose, they ignited his pride like dry grass in fire. War preparations began immediately. Nakia understood the danger. Egypt's armies were vast, experienced, and relentless. Even Kush's strong warriors could not match Egypt in a direct confrontation. War would cost thousands of lives. It would burn fields, destroy families, and shatter the peace Kush had worked so hard to maintain. Nakia had a choice. She could fight, she could surrender, or she could find another way, a way no one else could see. She chose the third path, the path of strategy. Nakia summoned Kush's greatest minds, architects, engineers, priests, astronomers, and builders. She revealed a plan so bold and unconventional that her council stared in stunned silence. She would defeat Egypt without ever raising an army. Under the cover of darkness, her people worked along the riverbanks. Stone frames were carved and positioned with perfect precision. Reed structures were placed behind dunes. Polished bronze plates were hidden beneath clear water. Every angle was carefully calculated. Every reflection crafted with intention. Every shadow shaped with purpose. And when the moon rose, the Nile transformed into a shimmering mirror. A mirror reflecting an army that did not exist. When the Egyptian scouts arrived at dawn, they stopped cold. There, stretching across the riverbank, stood a massive Kushite army. Thousands of warriors holding spears and shields, motionless and silent in the glow of the rising sun. But they were only reflections. The real Kushite soldiers were hidden far behind the dunes. The illusion was perfect. Some scouts believed the figures were spirits summoned by Kushite priests. Others thought Nakia had obtained supernatural power. None dared to approach. They fled in fear. When the scouts returned, Pharaoh Ahmose listened, and for the first time he felt doubt. His army was large, but the phantom Kushite force seemed enormous. Larger than any Kush army ever recorded. Larger than any Egyptian commander had prepared for. Whispers spread throughout the Egyptian camp. Soldiers muttered about curses and magic. Officers questioned their intelligence reports. Tensions rose like a storm. In that moment, Nakia's plan achieved exactly what she intended. She made Egypt fear what it could not understand. Realizing the danger, Pharaoh Ahmose sent a second envoy south. But this time, everything was different. There were no threats, no demands, no arrogance, only a plea for peace. Nakia agreed, but her message was firm and unforgettable. Peace exists only between equals. Egypt withdrew its forces. Kush remained independent, and not a single life was lost. Under Nakia's guidance, Meroe flourished even more. Trade expanded across deserts and seas. Diplomacy strengthened relationships with neighboring kingdoms. Scholars, merchants, and travelers carried stories of her brilliance far beyond Kush's borders. Nakia had defeated an empire not by force, but by intellect. Her strategy became a whispered legend among traders, military leaders, and storytellers across the ancient world. Yet as centuries passed, history remembered the pharaohs of Egypt more than the queens of Kush. The pyramids of Meroe began sinking beneath drifting sands. Languages changed, empires rose and fell, but Nakia's legacy remained. Even if her name faded from the records, her story survived in the lessons it left behind. That intelligence can defeat intimidation, that strategy can outweigh brute force, that true leadership protects, not destroys, and that the greatest victories are the ones achieved without violence. Today, the pyramids of Kush stand silent beneath the African sun. The fires of Meroe no longer roar, but the spirit of Nakia remains. Her brilliance reshaped her kingdom. Her courage halted an empire. Her wisdom saved countless lives. Nakia proved that sometimes the strongest weapon a leader can wield is the mind. This is the story of Nakia of Meroe, the queen who defended her kingdom with brilliance instead of bloodshed. A ruler who transformed intellect into power, a woman who outsmarted Egypt and changed history without ever stepping onto a battlefield.
Subscribe now for more legendary stories from the past.